Property refurb investors, most people lose their money at auction day one, not on the refurb. Here's how to stop that happening. Now, if you're thinking about buying at a UK property auction to refurb and flip or hold, your biggest risk isn't the refurb. It's losing your 10% deposit because the numbers were wrong or the finance was slow. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact checklist serious investors use to decide in 10 minutes if a lot is a deal or a dud, use bridging to complete in 28 days, and avoid the legal finance traps that kill your profit. Now, quick note, if you've got an auction in the next 60 days, there's a link below where you can send me your deal and I'll run this check for you within 24 hours for free. More on that later. I'm Jonathan, a UK bridging broker. We get investors lender ready for free, then charge £249 on application and only £1,500 when we secure a bridging offer, which takes around 3 days from submission, valuation and terms allowing. Let me walk you through the process we actually use every day. Auctions look exciting. You see a cheap guide price, you see in need of modernization, and it feels like free money. But here's the truth. Most people who lose money at auction don't lose it on the refurb. They lose it on day one with a bad bid, bad finance, or bad due diligence. So in this video, we're gonna go step by step. One, how to auction buying actually works, timelines and rules. How to do due diligence. So step one, how auction buying actually works, timelines and rules. Step two, how to do due diligence properly, the legal panic viewing and red flags. Step three, how to run those numbers, GDV, refurb costs, finance costs, and your max bid. Step four, how to use bridging finance safely so you can complete in 28 days. Step five, how to plan your refurb and your exit, flip versus refinance and hold. Stick with me to the end and you'll have a simple auction refurb checklist in your head that you can use every time. So first, let's get clear on how auctions actually work because the rules are different to an estate agent sale. When the hammer falls, you've effectively exchanged contracts. You usually pay 10% deposit on the day. You then have 28 days, sometimes 14 or 42, but 28 is most common to complete. If you can't complete, you risk losing your deposit and possibly being chased. So when you bid at auction, you're not just having a go, you're committing to buying, regardless of whether the finance and refurb plan are ready. That's why serious investors do all the work before auction day. They've viewed the property, they've had the solicitor review the legal pack, they've run the numbers including GDV and refurb costs, they've spoken to a broker, got a decision in principle for bridging. They know their absolute max bid, and most importantly, they won't go a penny over it. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking, cool, this is a lot to take on right now on my own, that's exactly why I built a free 24-hour deal check. Hit the link below, send me the lot number and the address, the guide price, your max bid, your rough refurb budget and GDV. I'll come back with a yes, no on fundability, rough terms, any red flags that could kill it so you don't waste weekends on dead deals or, most importantly, risk your deposit. Do that now while you've got the deal in mind. Okay, so let's talk due diligence, starting with the legal pack. Now, the legal pack contains things like title documents, special conditions of sale, searches, indemnity policies, lease details if it's a flat, tenancy agreements if it's let, sometimes planning, building regs, and other reports. This is where a lot of the nasties hide. For example, we just completed a deal for a client of ours, Neil. We had 5 days from finance approval to keys in hand. Now, the contract said any extension had to specify a time, not just a day, 2 p.m. Friday, not just Friday. The solicitor missed this, the completion slipped, Neil had to pay an extra £3,000 to keep the seller on side or lose his 10% deposit. Now, if he used the right broker from the start, they'd have paired him with a solicitor who actually read the terms. Cheap is expensive. Now, my rule is simple. Do not bid on anything without getting your solicitor to review the legal pack. Yes, it costs money. Yes, you might pay for a review and then not bid, but that small cost is nothing compared to losing 10% or buying a legal problem that kills the financing later. So step one, get the legal pack and get it checked. If your solicitor says there's issues, but they're priced in and manageable, fine. You build that risk into your numbers. If the solicitor says, I wouldn't touch this, listen to them. There will always be another. So the next piece of due diligence, viewing the property and scoping the refurb. Now, the catalogue of photos are often generous. You need to see it in person or send someone who knows refurbs. On the viewing, you're trying to answer 3 questions. What is the likely refurb cost? Is there any structural seriousness that blows the budget? What's the realistic finished product going to look like? Look out for cracks, movement, obvious structural issues, damp and rot, especially floors and timbers, Roof condition, old electrics, old boiler, no central heating. Layout, is it logical? Or do you need to reconfigure? If you're new, one of the best things that you can do is bring a builder or a good refurb contractor with you. Let them walk around and give you a ballpark for light refurb, medium, heavy refurb. You want a written estimate, even if it's broad. Then add contingency, usually 10, 15% on smaller refurbs, professional fees, so architect, structural engineer if needed, building control, and then the finance cost, which we'll come on to later. Remember, refurbs rarely get cheaper once you start. So I'd rather work on a slightly pessimistic refurb budget and be pleasantly surprised than the other way around. Now we get into the core of this, the numbers. So serious investors don't chase the guide price. They work backwards from GDV, which is the gross development value. Now here's a simple framework. Start with GDV. What will it be worth when it's refurbed? Subtract your profit margin. 15, 20% on total costs is a sensible target. Subtract all your costs, so purchase, refurb, finance, legal fees, contingency. The number that's left is your maximum bid, hammer price plus fees. Let's break that down. So step one, GDV is not what you hope it's worth. GDV is based on sold comparables in the same area, similar size, similar spec. Look at land registry sold prices. Look at recent sales on the portals, not fantasy asking prices. Match numbers of beds, type of property and condition. Make adjustments if yours is going to be slightly better or slightly worse. Come up with a realistic GDV. For example, a low range might be 190K, mid 200, high 210. When I'm working out my max bid, I usually use the mid or low number, not the dream scenario. Step two, target profit next. Set your profit margin. On small refurb projects, a common target is 15 to 20% on profit to cost. So profit on cost means profit divided by purchase plus costs times 100. So if you're all in, your purchase costs are 150 grand, a 20% margin means 30 grand profit. So if all in, your purchasing costs are 150 grand, a 20% margin means 30 grand profit. Then you list out your costs, purchase price. This is what you're solving for. Stamp duty, auction fees, buyer's premium, legal fees and surveys, refurb costs, contingency, finance costs, and bridging interest, arrangement fees, and any exit fees. Broker fees, valuation fees, insurance, council tax, utilities during the works, selling costs if you're flipping, agent fees, legals. You put them in a simple spreadsheet so nothing gets. Now you basically ask, if my GDV is X and I want Y profit, what is the maximum all-in cost I can afford? Then max all-in cost equals GDV minus target profit. And from that max all-in cost, you subtract all of the known costs of refurb, finance, fees, etc. Whatever's left is your maximum purchase price, including hammer price and any premiums. The number is your ceiling on auction day. You do not go above it because someone else keeps bidding. If it goes beyond your max, you congratulate the other buyer. They just overpaid, you didn't. Now let's talk finance, because auctions practically force you into cash or bridging. Most traditional buy-to-let lenders simply can't move fast enough to hit a 28-day completion, especially on a property that needs works. That's where bridging finance comes in. Bridging is short-term interest-only finance designed for auctions, refurbs, conversions, properties that are not yet mortgageable. And here's how it typically works for an auction refurb. The lender can often go up to 75% of the purchase price, sometimes higher depending on the deal. You put in the deposit, often around 25 to 35% plus the fees. You either fund the refurb yourself or use a refurbishment facility where the lender funds the works in stages. Interest can be rolled up, so added to the loan, or deducted, taken off the gross loan. Each means no monthly payments, so you don't have cash flow pressure during the refurb. The term is usually 6 to 12 months for light to medium refurbs, and the big advantage is for auctions, you can complete in 28 days if the deal is packaged properly. You can buy unmortgageable properties, no kitchen, no bathroom, structural issues. You can add value and then refinance onto a long-term mortgage or sell. But this is most important. Bridging is not free. You pay interest, arrangement fees, sometimes exit fees, valuation and legal costs. So you must start with your numbers. Bridging costs baked in. Have at least one clear exit, ideally two. Get a decision in principle before auction day. This is where working with a specialist broker is key. You want someone who knows auction and refurb deals, who can tell you quickly if the numbers fit lender criteria, get you terms agreed in principle before the auction, help you package everything so the underwriter can say yes fast. Now, the worst mistake is winning a lot in the room, then trying to sort out bridging after the event. That's how people lose deposits. Let's jump to auction day. So by this point, If you're doing everything properly, you should have viewed the property, had the legal pack check, run your numbers, set your max bid, spoken to your broker and got indicative bridging terms. Auction day is not the time to improvise. Know the lot number that you're interested in. Decide before the bidding starts. If it stays under X, I'm in. If it goes above Y, I'm out. When the bidding starts, let the room do what it's going to do. Bid calmly. Do not chase someone else beyond your max just because it's only another grand. Remember, every grand beyond your max is coming out of your profit. If you win within your numbers, great. If you pay your 10% deposit, sign the paperwork and the clock starts ticking, if you don't win, that's fine too. In auctions, the money is made in the deals you don't do as much as the ones that you do. Once you've won the lot and you've paid your deposit, you're now into that 28-day countdown to completion. So this is where having things ready up front pays off. You move straight into bridging application finalization with your broker, valuation book, solicitor instructed. Meanwhile, you're lining up the refurb. You confirm the quotes with your builder based on the condition you saw. You lock in a schedule of works, what's happening week by week. Order long lead items early, so kitchens, bathrooms, windows, if required. As soon as you complete and get the keys, you want the refurb team on site. Time is money. Every extra week adds finance and holding costs. Keep a close eye on budget and timings, especially changes to this. From day one, your exit should already be planned. Are you flipping? Then you're watching the market, speaking to local agents about resale value and planning how to stage and present the property at the end. Are you refinancing and renting out? If you're using a broker with experience in this sector, they will build in an exit to repay that bridge upfront, even if you tell them you're flipping. That's the difference between someone great and someone who just wants to get paid. Now, the key thing, you're not guessing. You're executing a plan you made before the auction with help from professionals. Let me quickly run through some of the most common mistakes I see with auction refurbs. So the first is bidding without finance lined up. Hoping a lender will save you in 28 days is not a strategy. Ignoring the legal pack, just assuming it will be fine because the guide price is low. Underestimating refurb costs, pretending a heavy refurb is just a bit of paint and carpet. Using optimistic GDV, taking the highest possible comparable and then adding some. No clear exit, not knowing whether you're flipping or refinancing or how the numbers look either way. Chasing the price in the room, letting ego drive you over your max bid. No contingency, assuming everything will go perfectly with no surprises. If you avoid those, you're already ahead of most people walking into the auction room. Auctions are not the place to wing it. You do your due diligence before the hammer, legal pack, viewing, refurb, scope. You start with GDV, work backwards through costs, and get your profit to your max bid. You use bridging finance to complete in 28 days, but only when the deal stacks after financing costs and an exit onto a buy-to-let product. You plan your refurb and exit in advance and execute quickly once you complete. If you follow that process, auctions go from scary to structured. So if you take one thing from this, auctions reward the investor who prepares before the hammer, not the one who wings it. If you've got an auction or refurb deal that you're looking at, don't guess. Click the link below, send me the basic numbers, and I'll run this checklist on your deal for free within 24 hours. If the deal stacks and you want to move forwards, we'll get your lender ready now so that when you do win the lot, we can submit within 24 hours and push for an offer in about 3 days subject to valuation and lender terms. Use tools if you want, but if you actually care about not losing your 10% deposit, get me looking at your deal right now.